Hey, what's going on guys? I'm back again with another review. This is going to be a video dedicated to Lapis, or is it Lapis? I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Lapis. You guys can let me know in the comments. I will be breaking down her kit and giving you guys my idea of how she works and how I play her, as well as how I build her. Even though she's not a difficult character to play, she is different, so I still wanted to make a full breakdown video just for her. So if you guys saw my Ilya video, you should remember that I went over her manacaster type. I'm going to do the same here for Lapis's type, which is rapid fire, since she is the one debuting it. For normal attacks, there's C1, C2, and C3. C1 has mods of 45% and deals 3 hits. C2 deals 60% with 3 hits. And C3 deals 60% again, but this time 5 hits. And each of these combos will be granting 200 SP each. The range of it is similar to that of the bow. The attack speed is moderate, it's not too fast nor is it too slow. Regardless, normal attacking is not what you want to be doing as a rapid fire manacaster. Rapid fire is all about is force strikes. When you hold down the force strike, you essentially turn into a turret. You aren't allowed to move, but you're going to be able to fire off tons of rounds, and every single hit will of course fill your skill gauge. The force strikes range is the same as the staff, in case you're wondering. As for the mods, it's 50% and it'll fill 90 SP per hit. Here's a side-by-side comparison to show you the difference in SP gains between the C3 combo and holding down the force strike. You can clearly tell that force striking is much faster. When you activate this force strike, you can indeed continue to hold it down indefinitely. As long as nothing interrupts you, you can force strike forever basically, and that makes for some interesting interactions with Hunter Sharice's share skill. That share can help boost the damage on Lapis's next force strike session. Something that is mildly annoying is that rapid fire mancatchers can inflict a force strike minus 50% debuff on themselves whenever the force strike session ends. That debuff will last for about 5 seconds and you're gonna be seeing this debuff show up a lot. However, I wouldn't worry too much about it as I don't think it's that big of a deal. Yeah, that debuff will half your force strike damage, but it's on such a short duration, and plus you are mainly force striking to fill your skill gauge because that's where the real damage will be coming from. So yeah, that's basically rapid fire manacaster for you guys. To be honest, for me personally, rapid fire is probably the least fun out of the 3 types, but it's still kind of fun to a certain degree. You know, it's not really interesting to just sit there and become a turret basically, but the fun part for me is the skill spamming part because rapid fire fills skill gauge at such a fast rate. So the fun I think will depend on the character's skills. And speaking of skills, let's dive into Lapis's skills. S1 is the shareable skill. The cost is very low, only 2,500 SP and 5,750 SP as a shared skill. That is kind of notable, so keep that in mind. It deals 2 different hits and the total damage is around 1300% roughly, and it can dispel multiple targets in the area. So first off, the damage mods aren't that impressive for post 2.0 standards. Nowadays 1500% is like the okay mark, and around 2000% is where I would consider good mods. It does however charge extremely fast though, so it's very spammable. In fact, this is probably one of or the cheapest skill that has Dispel. It probably is the cheapest share skill that has Dispel, that's for sure, only 5,750 SP. That is less than half of Ranzel's share skill, so it definitely has its potential, especially in full auto when Dispel is frequently needed. Now she does have an ability that's related to her Dispel. Her ability 1 inflicts water res debuff of 5% for 30 seconds and grants Lapis 1 stack of stronger bullets when she dispels an enemy buff. Now since I mentioned stronger bullets, I may as well go over that right now. Ability 1 and Ability 3 both have something to do with stronger bullets. Ability 1, like I said, activates stronger bullets after dispelling an enemy buff. Ability 3 grants a stack of stronger bullets for every 30 hit combo. Stronger bullets can only be stacked 3 times, with each individual stack granting 4% crit rate each, so the total amount of crit rate you're going to get is 12%. The effect and stack of stronger bullets will be removed after using skill 2. So it's going to be really important that you pay attention to how many stacks you have, because ideally you want to get rid of 3 stacks at a time via skill 2 to maximize damage. The reason is because skill 2 has an effect that is similar to that of Karina's and Xander's skills, where the skill becomes much more powerful with each additional stack of buffs on the user. The difference between those two and Lapis is that Lapis's skill caps at 80% bonus skill damage. For every single buff stack, it will grant 5% skill damage to skill 2. For every stronger bullet stack, it will grant 20% skill damage to skill 2. So that is why it's really important that you want to use skill 2 after reaching 3 stacks of stronger bullets. And we cannot possibly talk about skill 2 without mentioning its base mods. The mods on skill 2 is absolutely ridiculous. It's 3000% that can be boosted by buff stacks. She's going to be able to easily hit over millions with it. Now her Coabilities are Gauge Accelerator and 10 hits Flame Res. If I recall correctly, all the current manacasters have Gauge Accelerator for whatever reason. It is a decent co-op since it helps the team get to break quicker. As for 10 hits Flame Res, in co-op it's kind of useless for the most part. However, in solo full auto, it can be useful as a chain to help your team survive, but that's about it. So now that you understand what she does and what she's capable of, let me explain how I use her. She's not very complicated, her kit is actually very linear. Pretty much just hold down 4 strike to fill skills. Now spamming skill 1 is a bit iffy. With Siren equipped, it only deals around 70,000 and it will deal over 100,000 when it crits, which isn't a lot. When you consider the fact that the mods are low, then having to go through the animation, then having to go back to holding 4 strike, all of that adds up to a loss of SP gains for skill 2, which is where the big damage is at. It's at least triple the damage of skill 1. I tested both playstyles of spamming S1 and only using S1 when you have to, and not spamming S1 came out with better results, but the times aren't that drastic enough to where one playstyle dominates the other. So what I'm going to suggest to you guys is that you can spam S1 if you want to, but it's not a bad idea to skip it either. You might be asking, so when do I use S1? Obviously, you want to use it to dispel whenever you can to get stronger bullets. You want to use it for iframing, and it's also a great skill to spam when the enemy is close to break so that you don't have to break using skill 2. Anyways, back to the original topic. As Lapis, you want to hold down your 4 strike to fill your skills. Use skill 1 whenever you need to, and then you want to use skill 2 whenever you have 3 stacks of stronger bullets. I guess you can release that at 2 stronger bullets as long as you can hit the cap from other sources as well. That's pretty much the gist of what you do as Lapis. Like I said earlier in the video, don't worry too much about the 4 strike debuff when you cancel your 4 strike midway through. The top priority is to fill her skill gauge. Now as for her build, I'm personally running skill damage, flurry strength. In my showcase video I was using crit damage, but I should have been using strength double buff instead. That's assuming it can be enabled. Manacaster crit rate 12% and frostbite punisher. The general rule of thumb for most DPSers in this game is that you want to make sure that they have skill damage, strength up, and a punisher print. Strength double buff usually takes up a slot assuming that it can be enabled, and then the last slot is flexible, so that went to 12% crit rate, since crit rate is the next best thing after skill damage, strength, and punisher, assuming that the user doesn't already have a lot of crit rate. I know some people are suggesting to run a 4 strike print since a decent portion of her damage is coming from her 4 strikes. If you want to do that, then you can move the double buff print into the 4-star slot and get rid of crit rate. I personally don't give her any 4 strike enhancements because I prefer to give her prints that increases her damage in all aspects. If you do decide to run 4 strike damage, then it's probably better to use it with a strength dragon such as Poseidon rather than with Siren. The 2 best dragons for Lapis in my opinion are Poseidon and Siren, but other offensive dragons work as well, such as Leviathan. Big Chungus aka GNC is really awkward because Lapis' skill 2 will fill way too quick before she gets enough stronger bullet stack, so I don't recommend GNC on Lapis. It's gonna be a lot better for somebody else on the team to use Big Chungus. For the backline, I run skill damage, strength, and Xander chain. The Xander slot is flexible, so you can replace that with whatever you want. So somebody asked me what I thought about Lapis' damage the other day, and I said she was strong, but I couldn't tell how strong she really was because the only water character I've been playing for all these weeks is Karina. Karina is definitely still stronger. She's honestly just broken, especially with the right team composition, but Lapis is a different kind of strong. She's very self-sufficient, has big numbers, has good range, and also has some utility with her Dispel, which is very low costed. I think it's clear that she's probably near the top of water in terms of DPS if we don't include supports, because double buff teams are very strong and she fits perfectly in those teams. The sad part is that Karina exists, so in most cases Karina is just a better option. And one final thing, Lapis' AI is actually pretty decent. She basically just sits there holding down her 4 strike and spams her skills, so she's decent as a backliner for solo content. I would definitely recommend summoning for her if you need a water that is easy to play, that also dishes out big damage, and not named Karina. She won't be meta, but she is unique and decently fun to use. And that's going to be the end of my review on our brand new manacaster. If you guys have any questions, be sure to comment down below. As always, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.